Hey, everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. What's going on? So, tell you about a couple of things. First of all, let's go over the rules real quick because I don't do this anymore. I used to play them at the beginning, but what I found is that the shorter my intro, the happier everybody is. Don't curse in the comment section. If you really feel like you got to, spell it wrong, please. It just, we're not trying to offend anybody away. There are people that don't like cursing. I don't care much. I really don't. But I don't do it here because God forbid I scare somebody away with that who needs help, right? We don't want to scare away anybody. And for that reason, we can say things like, I'm praying for you, or thank God I wouldn't be here without God's help, any of those things. We don't do the my God's better than your God thing, right? Or how stupid are you to believe in a God? None of that stuff. Or how stupid are you to not believe in a God? We don't do any of that. We respect anybody's belief or not belief around here because the thing that brings us all together is too important to start splintering over stupid stuff, right? And when you're in the chat, don't do me a favor. Don't promote anything else. Don't promote other people's shows. I mean, obviously, there's the SPTV community, and I don't care. But I mean, don't pop up and go, "Hey, have you seen this guy that does this?" That's kind of bad form, and it'll bum out the wrenches. Also, if you put things in all caps, there are people who think you're screaming at them. So please don't do that. All right, there we go. I think we got it right. I think we're moving. That pretty much covers it, doesn't it? So here's the drill, people. This is going to make you sick. This Jodi Hildebrandt house is up for sale. It's about $5 million, $5 million and some change. Oh, don't worry, Rick. No, just don't. We just meet across the board. Every once in a while, you got to do that. And we all know that. I just mean don't do it. There are some people that show up and do it in every single sentence, and people get bummed out about that. But from time to time, I do it. I'll raise your voice from time to time. No big deal. What gets you through the day? Me? You guys. What gets me through the day is this is a war for me. It's a very deeply personal thing. I pissed away the vast majority of the beginning of my life, right? Half of my life, I flushed down the toilet. So I've got to make something positive from that. So what keeps me going every day is trying to take how much damage I did in the first 46 years of my life and turn it into a positive, right? And these days, I get to work with my kids, which is huge. I have a really, really good time working with my kids. I cannot even put into words how much fun that is to me. You know, that's winning the lottery. I mean, maybe you don't like kicking it with your kids, but I do. So I really enjoy this. This is, me and my son were talking before I went live. You know how much fun that is? And he's got insight. He brings things to the table and makes my job easier. And that's a beautiful thing. But we're going to talk about this sick bitch. I'm sorry. There's just no other way to say it. This woman is the spawn of Satan. If you have been following this case, if you haven't been following this case, you're probably not into true crime, period, because this is a huge true crime thing. And then it kind of fizzled, right? It did. This was a huge deal. And the reason it was is because Ruby Franke had a massive social media footprint, 1 billion views. That would be what it be, right? That's about 1,000 times bigger than the lifeboat. 1,000 times bigger than the lifeboat, right? She is a monster. Make no mistake, she is a monster, Tiffany. And you know what happened, Tiffany? The world started to see that this woman was a monster, right? Started reporting her because she started saying some really crazy things about how she believed discipline should be doled out, right? At all. Yes, Jody H is broken. I prefer the term bad wired, right? Bad wired. This woman may have a brain tumor. I'm not being funny. I think that this woman's evil goes deeper than most. And there are things that are coming out in her plea agreement that are really different than almost everything in these plea agreements from one to the other are identical. They are very, very similar plea agreements. She is LDS, and we're going to go over that, to be sure. She is LDS, Church of Latter-day Saints, and we're going to go over that. Sadly, it plays a big role in this. And it is what it is, people. If it was any, I don't care what religion it is. If they're got dirt on their hands and it has something to do with kids, I'm here. DeAudrey Gore, I think that's probably not too far off. DeAudrey Gore says, I think she's just a sadist with delusions of grandeur. Maybe. But I think You guys can tell me what you think. You're a smart audience. You're a smart audience. Do me a favor, Calhoun. Let's get a look at this house real quick, because this is thank you, Cheery. I don't mess with kids, period. Right? That's my thing. I don't mess with kids, period. And the people that do, I got a real issue with that. So this is the property, right? And if you look at it, you get the look from above or whatever. It kind of looks like you own this canyon, doesn't it? I mean, that's grand. The houses sit on about 1.5 acres or about. This house is 10,000 square feet, right? Oh, don't worry, Curious Wendy. You can go ahead and bite your lip. I'm not going to bite mine. So don't trip. Hang out. So get a look at this, people. This is what evil can pay for, right? Systematic evil. Get a look at this freaking property. Look at the stonework done on this and how they, this is beautiful, how they used Mother Nature to, by the way, Kristen, I got to your email. I'm about 4 or 5 days behind on email. No joke, because I answered them. Kristen, I have not answered your email, but I read it. And thank you. It was an amazing email. Yeah, Puff Dragon, right? Look at this house. Now, you say, well, isn't that funny? Erica, keep that thought. All right. In fact, check this out. We're going to put you up there because this is important. Yeah, keep scrolling, Calhoun. Look at this place. People, when you get into the master closets, look at the ceilings. Look at how every ceiling in this place has recessed features, recessed lighting. This place screams opulence, right? This screams opulence. See this? Look at this. There is a washer and dryer in the walk-in closet, or no? This is the kitchen? I'm sorry. This stuff is for the kid. No, either way, the walk-in closet has a washer and dryer in it. The kitchen has a full-on prep center as if it is a professional kitchen. Look at the size of these. Look at how the windows in the back. I mean, you step out and you're looking at a cliff, right? This is just remarkable, right? But now we start getting into the pure freaking evil. My son is scrolling fast for a reason, because what we're getting to is the most disgusting thing you've seen in a long time. And trust me, you're not missing anything other than, holy hell, look at how big this is, right? That's really all you're missing. Holy crap, did she spend a lot of money? That's the takeaway, right? Ooh, Huckleberry, we'll get there. I promise we'll get there. Okay, you see this? How many cars can you put in that garage? For real, this looks like a parking garage at a casino. Right? Wow. Now, no, I'll show you the part of the house. Do you see this? Okay, Calhoun, right there. Look at that, folks. Do you see that? Everybody wants a safe in their house. Do you not? You want a safe in your house to put all of your valuable possessions in. But that's not what this safe does. Because if we scroll down, do you see this right here? Okay, that's a Murphy bed. You see the mouse that the Calhoun's putting that over there? Okay, that's a Murphy bed. It folds down out of the wall to create a bed. All right, cool. Now, if you scroll down, you see all of the all kinds of storage space. The very small refrigerator built in there, a little microwave oven. You got kind of a wet bar, right? There's a little refrigerator there, and you've got a commode, right? Okay, scroll down. And then, I'm sorry, the other direction, Calhoun. I always do that. If you go the other way, back up. You're going to look at the view. You see that right there? That's what the prisoner sitting on the bed looks out at. That door, okay, they built a cell in that house with a friggin' door on it that locks from the outside like a safe or a bank vault. Who built that? Who built that? For real. A guy comes to you and says, hey, this is what I need you to do. We're going to be building this little room. Who builds that? I mean, what kind of sick bastard? I don't care what you do for a living. If you're the person that puts the door on, you don't go, hey, is this a dungeon? The hell are we building? I guess for enough money, you don't care, yeah? I mean, honestly, like that structure on Epstein's Island, except this one is a little bit more obvious, isn't it? I mean, the person that built this in someone's house didn't go, hey, why am I building a prison cell in your basement? Maybe I ought to call the cops, right? What the hell am I building in your basement? Oh, go ahead and curse, Kristen. Go ahead and curse. You spell it bad. I understand. Like, these are the sickest people on earth. Are you seeing this? Look at the depth. Thank you, Calhoun. Look at the thickness of this. This is a vault. Do not make any mistakes. This is not you see that right there, right? The how thick that is. We're talking about 8 inches of concrete. They built a prison cell with a effing keypad on the outside of it. Robin, I'll tell you who thinks that way. Someone that systematically tortures children as part of their life. The niece, I believe her name was Jessie, has absolutely chronicled just how badly she was abused at the hands of her sick, twisted aunt. Now, let me tell you what we're looking at here. Let me tell you what we're looking at. This house that is $5 million. I am really sorry, man. My initial thought it was a panic room. Okay, Lisa, I thought that. Problem with the panic room is you can only open the door from the outside. That is a problem, right? When you can only open the door from the outside, the only person panicking is the person living inside that cell. I want to tell you something, people. I spent a lot of time in cells. I spent 13 years of my life inside cells, and it damages your head. It really does. It damages your head. When the door shuts and you're locked in there, it does damage that will never be undone. You feel me? It does damage that will never be undone. But what kept me sane is the knowledge that no matter what, I was always going to get out. That door was always going to open. I would have lost my crap in that. When that vault shut, I would have gone insane. I don't know if it's going to open. You understand? We can take anything as human beings as long as we know how long we have to endure it. When that thing would shut, I wouldn't know that they're going to open it. Holy hell. I would have thought about starving to death. I would have thought about all of the terrifying things. It's a nice prison cell as far as prison cell goes, right? As far as prison cells go, it's lovely, but it's a friggin' prison cell. Make no mistake. Notice they don't have a television set in there. Notice they don't have anything that resembles entertainment in there. This is a prison cell. I'm struggling thinking about it. And I spent a lot of time in prison cells. I'm struggling thinking about it. So let me tell you how this is going to work, boys and girls. Utah is a very unusual place. Oh, AB, don't ever go over and look at my Instagram. You would die. I'm claustrophobic too. Viciously claustrophobic. And I got a job crawling through tunnels for a living. Fresh out of prison was the only thing I could get, but I did it. And I videotaped a bunch of it. It's really, I can't even watch it now going back. I think I just needed to talk to the camera because I was so scared that if I wasn't talking, I'd have gone nuts. For real, that's kind of the way it was. Now, listen, a couple of things we need to talk about. I'm going to say in advance, go ahead and get angry at me, right? Go ahead and get angry at me. But that torture chamber in that house that it is inside of, the church paid for that. Make no mistake, this was a hustle. This was a con. Now, you take that for what it's worth. But the way that this went down is Jody's office would get a call from a bishop. The bishop would say, these people are having problems. And I told them the first number of sessions are paid for by the church. Right? And then what she did is she got in and separated the husband and the wife. This woman destroyed more marriages than Budweiser. No joke. Destroyed more marriages than heroin. This woman got in there and the man was the demon instantly. Did it to Ruby Frankie too. She destroyed the marriages of every single person she got close to. She had some very unusual thoughts. For instance, if you've seen pornography, you're addicted to it. I'm not being funny. If you've seen pornography, you're addicted to it. Let me tell you the scariest thing about that little box you just saw. The scariest thing about that box that you just saw has nothing to do with the box. It's that the sick bitch that put the kids in there told them that they were going in there because God was mad at them. I have a belief in God. My God doesn't want a kid in a box. You're right, Robin. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I apologize. That was wildly disrespecting to both Budweiser and heroin for me to compare him to that sick woman. You're right. And I apologize to them both. Yes, Pornhub traffic is highest in Utah, oddly enough, right? Or if it's not, it's close. And Prozac, look at it. Google what percentage of all Prozac scripts are written in the state of Utah. But I don't care about the religion or what they believe. I don't care what Scientologists believe. I've always been very clear on this. But when people start jacking with kids, there's a problem, right? That's it. Yeah, man, girl, I'm with you, man. I want to tell you something. I've never put hands on a woman. That's my right hand to God. I've never done it. Never done it. I'd punch this woman in the face and feel good about it. How's that? I could make a fist and crush this woman in the face and feel good about it. This is a sick woman. In the paperwork looks very similar between both of these women's plea deals, except very specifically in Jodi Hildebrandt's was a part where the daughter, who was 9, was punished by forcing her to jump into a cactus. I don't know if you've ever touched a cactus, people. I live in Arizona. I cannot imagine the evil that you have to have inside you to be able to do this. Right? Now, this is why I say things like brain tumor. I almost got to believe that this woman really does believe that this is Satan or this is whatever. How could this be not mental illness? Now, I'm not giving her a pass. I'd like to see her stomped to death. But yeah, and that's messed, right? Atypical demons, all of it. Oh my God, right? But here's where it gets fun. Fun. I'm not kidding. Let me tell you how it works in Utah. They're going to give her 60 years. Make no mistake. They're going to give her 60 years. If they don't, she's going to get 45, but they're going to give her a lot of time. Yeah, they made that little girl throw herself into a cactus because they convinced her she was evil. They're going to, big fat vacation is coming to this sadistic piece of crap. Now, here's where we get dangerous, but here's where our job comes in, right? They're going to break this person off somewhere between 40 to 60 years. But that doesn't mean that they're going to do that. There's going to be a board that convenes, and they're going to determine how long she's in prison. And the first probation meeting will be before she's done a year. It's a very odd system they got there, right? We need to make sure, Jeanette and everybody else, that, you know what? Pull a road trip. Every time this woman comes up for parole, these are open hearings, man. Pull a road trip. Head on down there. Let them know that this is pretty sick. The boy had ligature marks that went through the muscle to the bone. 8 months. Thank you, Huckleberry. 8 months to the first parole board hearing. Well, you know what? I think we need to show up at all of them. You know what I'm saying? Wyoming? Yeah, well. Lumen, good to see you. Glad that you're here. This is a very, very disturbing thing that good Lord, Jay. This is the system's broken. It is absolutely broken. And it's not going to get fixed by people not yelling. And I'm telling you that what went on in this one, look at the size of that friggin' house, right? First couple of sessions are on us. You know what, Anna? I understand where you're coming from that we shouldn't speak of her. The problem is, if we don't speak of her, then we'll forget what happened. The reason you have to speak of Jody is because she used an organization that is worth billions of dollars to systematically destroy people's lives, right? This is where we got to say, we're going to say her name, and we're going to say the name of the church. Sorry, right? I don't hate Catholicism. I don't like what happened in the Catholic Church to boys, right? Don't like it. Got to call them out on it. But I got nothing against the Catholic Church. I don't have anything against the Mormon Church. But this is jacked to say, we're going to send you off to, the person of our choosing. You went in to talk to a bishop about something that should, in theory, be really personal. This is clergy stuff. What do? Well, it's an assembly line. We're going to send you right down the road to old Jody, right? And we're going to pay for the first couple of sessions, and then she's going to ding you for about 10 G's a year. Look at the size of that house, people, right? She did pretty damn well on the Mormon dollar. She did pretty damn well on the Mormon dole. You got to call out evil where evil is, right? I'm not trying to pick a fight with any church, right? Church of Scientology sucks, right? They systematically are killing people's souls, right? This is one of the Mormon therapists. That's exactly right. Therapists. Yeah, we have to speak of the horrors. We really do. We have to speak of the horrors. And I may sound as crazy as anybody you've ever heard, but I think the exact opposite. I want that bitch's name to be known. I want it to be known like everybody on earth knows who that sick bitch is and why she's sick. But I don't want anybody to remember the name of that 12-year-old boy or that little girl. I would like them to maybe just blend back into society and live a life where people don't go, oh, aren't you that kid that Jodi Hildebrandt had something to do? I'd like to see them just sort of, she needs to get remembered. She needs to not be forgotten. And I'll tell you something else. We need to figure out, what are they doing now? For real. Someone's having a tough time in the marriage. Who are they sending them to now? Because this went on for so long. Do you know how many husbands got labeled porn freaks? Guys that never watched porn, right? Where wives divorced them because they were masturbation machines and this and that. Good Lord. If you listen to the interviews that were done with Jodi's niece, I swear to you, it's like there's like a 45-minute interview that probably took me 5 hours to get through because I would stop it and walk around and, neither of them should get out of prison ever. And I don't know about the husband. I don't. I just don't know how you don't know this is going on, man. If that had been Spanx Calhoun and his mom was doing it, trust and believe I would have known about it. I would have been guilty. There's no way I wouldn't have known. If it was my kids, I would have known, right? I would have known. But I want, yeah. This is one of those situations, people, where we gotta yell. You're damn right she is. Lumen, I want to tell you something. Jesse is absolutely remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. She has poise. She is obviously really worked to get where she is today, because she was ritualistically, you could call it anything else you want, but she was ritualistically abused by this sick woman, and her family gave her over to him. I don't believe that this is an anomaly. I don't. I think that this is a practice that happens more often than not. I'll tell you why. I tell the story all the time about my friend that doesn't talk to me anymore, right? My business partner, who was a Mormon, the Jack Mormon. But he was a Jack Mormon because of what they did to his dad, right? And I wouldn't be surprised to find out if it had been Jodi Hildebrandt. But if it wasn't, then this is just something that goes on a lot. But he told the story to me, and he said that his dad got up in front of the church in their ward, and he said there was probably about 700 people there. And he got up in church and said, I've been cheating on my wife. I've been doing it with the woman that works for me as my secretary, told the entire church how long it had been going on, all of that, because that's what they told him he needed to do. And then they kicked him out of the church the following day. And my boy said, I am never dealing with these low-life scumbags. He really got pretty bummed out about the entire thing, but it seems to happen often. There seems to be an industry, right, that really seems to have sprung up around this. If you can't obviously go, you can watch some of the old videos because you'll see them on other platforms, or you will see, but there's an industry of their culture has a lot of kids. Part of their culture is a lot of kids. And there is a lot of content of mothers that are looking for content, right? Jodi's niece has told so much about how she suffered at the hands of her aunt, and she's done it with poise. She's done it with grace. She is just, I have an outlandish amount of respect for Jessie. I don't think that, I don't think I'd have the poise that she does. I've had some pretty rugged abuse, but at some level I brought it into my life. I've definitely had some abuse, but I've always brought it into my life in some way or another. This poor girl brought nothing into the no. Sorry. This is going to be one of those things. I agree with you, by the way. Kristen, sex and porn addiction is real. Make no mistake. And there are very few therapists who work on it. This person used that lack of therapists to abuse people in one of the worst ways. I have, since I sat in this chair, had about 9 people that have come to me one-on-one and said, I struggle mightily with addiction to pornography. And you'd be surprised to learn this, but it's been a almost 50-50 split between men and women. But this has been something that what I have found, make no mistake, is this is just another addiction. It really is. It's just another thing that people use in order to use it as a coping skill. And we had someone that was very, very honest and open about it, used to come in and talk all the time in group and would say, I got high today. He didn't say I went and watched porn and masturbated, but that's what he was doing right before work as a way to, just like I would fix in the parking lot. It was literally, it's just another addiction. I mean, there's a reason this puppy's called the lifeboat, right? And I know that people argue with me on this. I disagreed in the beginning. I really did. But I have spent the last 3 years talking to people, and I have come to realize it is really, really the same thing over and over and over and over again. Saw an interesting question earlier. Who the hell would buy that house? Tommy, you've said that you were a speaker in the past tense. What is it that you do now? Now I try to help people get sober. In my past life, I got on stage and I sold stuff. I was a paid gun to come into a room and see how much cash I could get out of it. And then I would disappear. It was usually a 3-day gig, and we would pull into a city and literally leave with about $500,000 and then go to the next city. And that's what we did. And there was no honor in anything that I did. So maybe I attribute that kind of, maybe that to me is public speaking, and that what I'm doing right now, I have a mission in this one. And you know what? It's starting to bring money in. I didn't care if it ever brought $1 in. I lost my, what, for the first 2 years. There's been a mission from day one here. I think what I'm doing is trying to help people follow footprints of other people that have made it out of some really, really ugly places. Do I do any speaking to groups? I'll be honest. I avoid crowds like the plague. I really do. I have gone. It's. I love the interaction that I do with everybody like this. But if all of you were in the same room with me right now, I would be really uncomfortable. I really would. Now, as a public speaker, it's different because if I was on the stage and 5,000 of you are out there sitting, this is just me working through things in my head. That's what public speaking has always been to me. I would get up there, even if I had a pitch that I was supposed to do, they'd hand you the script and go, hey, do me a favor and read this, or whatever. And this is what we want you to do as the script. And I would say, you know what? That's not really how I do it. Give me the bullet points, tell me the price point, and I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. And if you watched me, I didn't do the same show twice, ever. I don't know how to explain it, I guess. I'm probably not, I'm the kind of public speaker that everybody hates, right? Because you want a public speaker to stick to the script that you wrote. You want him to do I've told this story before, but the first time I spoke, my boss said to me, man, here's some rules you've got to stick by because you'll die if you don't. Don't use the word pitch. They'll stop buying if you use the word pitch. Right? We pitch people, but if they hear that, they know you're ripping them off. They'll use the word pitch. And I would be like, all right. And he'd say, don't tell them how much it costs. To the last thing, because they're sticking around to find out whether or not, the price is going to be something that they can afford or whatever. So this is one of those, I would listen to this stuff and go, I'm not sure that this makes any sense to me. Right? And never tell them how long it's going to be. Because if you go out and say, this is going to be about an hour and a half, people would go, hour and a half, no, I'm not good for that long. And they already shut off instantly. Right. So he gives me this speech and I walked out on stage and said, hey, how you doing? I'm Tommy. With any luck, this pitch is going to take about an hour and 20 minutes. And at the end of it, I'm going to hit you up for about $499. And my boss just told me not to tell you any of that crap. So let's start that way and see what happens. I mean, it didn't make me very popular, but I'd slay it. I'm not, I would say probably the front of the room was one of the places I was more honest from the front of the room than I was in my own life. I was always afraid the Federal Trade Commission was going to throw me in prison. So I didn't lie from the front of the room. I may have, I just had a very unique way of saying it. Like, what percentage of people are successful doing this? Less than 1%, right? You're probably going to fall flat on your face, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. Because 99% of people that do anything fail. You're going to fail because you're lazy. I'm going to give you something that works. If you don't do it, that's not on me. That was my pitch. I promise you the entire time I did it. If you fail, it's your fault, not mine. I will give you a roadmap. If you don't follow it, that's on you. I mean, I never was that guy that said, oh, this is easy. Like, I was never that dude. But I was a dirtbag because I knew that what I was selling was trash. And I worked my way through that, right? I got to the top of it where I was coming up with the lies instead of just going out and selling them. I was helping to make the infomercials and do all that stuff. And one of the things I have to do to it in my job is to stand in front of large groups and give safety briefings and game rules at paintball facility. Nice. I work at. Stage fright has never been a thing for me. You know what, Bruce? It's never been a thing for you because of birth. I have never been able to train somebody to do it. And I've tried. I can't tell you. I worked in that industry for a very long time. And you would meet people who were just articulate as hell. You'd meet people that talk 5 times better than me or anybody else. And by the end of it, you're just going, yeah. So here's the deal on Hildebrandt. She's looking at 60 years. So is Ruby Frankie. All of these, in both cases, they're looking at 4 counts of child abuse, carry 15 years. This is a very unusual state in that there's not a lot of leeway. I mean, there's a really good chance that the judge is going to give this person all of it. Right? For real. That's more than likely the judge is going to break this off and this person is going to get, 45, 60, somewhere in there. My fear is how tied in is the court system? Who are the people they're going to put together to review this woman? In 8 months, are they going to go, oh, she's learned a lesson, right? Think of how many people this woman has to know, right? She's been doing this for a really long time. I like it. I absolutely like it. A keep her locked up party. I love it. She's in Provo, Utah. I dig it. I like the idea of a keep her locked up party. I promise you I do. This is the kind of thing that social media should do. Do you understand? For real. This is what social media is supposed to do. Do you understand? I'm not kidding. This is how somebody from Ireland can say, no, you're not letting this person out, right? You make your voices heard. I promise you, people, that everybody in 2024 is more afraid of their reputation than anything else on earth. They're afraid of getting canceled. They're afraid of people talking bad about them, right? The social media thing scares the crap out of everybody on planet Earth. If they think that kicking old Jody Hildebrandt out even 5 minutes early is going to get them trashed, they're not going to let it happen. So our job is going to be to make sure that they know how we feel about old Jody Hildebrandt. And maybe she needs to spend the rest of her life in there. Well, I like the idea, Jeanette. I really do. And I hope that you're right. Jeanette says, I still believe she made the church look bad. No one in Utah has any leniency for her. We'll see. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. The DA, I heard that too, Lumen. I heard that too. But this is my experience, right? That's pretty rare stuff. Lawyers are not known, believe it or not, lawyers are not known for saying, if you like, I've had a lot of defense attorneys, man. And if you say to them, hey, man, you think you can get me off on this? They'll go, hey, I don't make any promises like that. I don't make any promises like that. I can try to get you the best deal in the world. I can try to go there and fight and give you the best fight that we can. But yes, we looked at that bakes with butter. We looked at that panic room. I'm not sure I'd call it a panic room. Panic rooms you're usually able to open from the inside, right? If you can only open it from the outside, we call it a dungeon, right? Call it a torture chamber. Yes, that's something else that I think. This is why I think Stephanie's got a great comment, Cal. Can you pop that one for me? Jody should get 60 years. This isn't the first time that, and my understanding is that there is going to be, we're definitely going to see an opportunity for Jesse to come in and probably, good point, JJ. I think Jesse's going to get an opportunity to go in there and say what she did. I think we're going to hear Jesse's voice in at sentencing. The nice thing about this, people, is this is not, if she was impacted, I think that the judge will let her speak. I really do. Yeah. Okay. But what she called it was distortion, right? Hildebrandt had this thing that she called distortion, right? And it's really not that far off from old, every cult's got, their own sort of terminology. And you do know this woman was deep into the exact same book that everyone else was. I'm sorry. The Daybell people were reading the same. My name is Kemley. Let's talk. Kemley. I wish I could read the. I can't see your avatar. Shoot me an email. Sober@myyahoo.com. Interesting. Kind of interesting. The bishops in Mormonism are appointed and have no qualifications whatsoever in terms of counseling. You mean who appoints them? I agree, people. Like I said, I'm not defending the Mormon Church. I think they're filthy in this. Filthy. My beef is not with people who believe the faith of Mormonism. My beef is with the church that handed this woman enough money to go buy that house we just looked at. Okay? That's a pretty sick home. It really is. That is an absolutely ridiculous home. And it was paid for in large part by the Mormon Church, who took what? Who took cash-free money, right? Cash-free money to do that. The elders appoint them. Good Lord in heaven. Interesting. I like the term too. I like the way you put that. Yes, as you dig into these splinter groups, you see there is a connection to the mothership. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Ah, yes, I agree with you. I don't do this very often. 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 However, Mormon Stories podcast is a great resource. It is a fantastic podcast. I dig it. I watch it pretty regularly, actually. I really like the content. I like how it's delivered. I like everything about it. And I don't do that very often, especially if I haven't been on the show or, you know what I mean? If it's not somebody I collab with, but I really dig that, that content. Jennifer, glad you're still listening. I really am. Interesting. Mormon core LDS prophets are affirmed liars. You know, I did time with multiple. I did time with multiple cats that got rich, ripping people off by creating documents and Bibles and things that didn't exist and selling them. There was this boom period of time in like the 80s and 90s where there were a lot of Mormons buying up a lot of documents and Bibles and anything that was historic that they could tie to the early days of Mormonism. And scammers came out of the woodwork. People that were making fake documents and selling them. And a couple of them ended up in the feds. A couple of them ended up at Point of the Mountain, which is where you do time in Utah if you get busted. Point of the Mountain. I'm a prophet. Boom, done. There you go. In fact, you know what? I might leave that up as the last thing because that's funny as heck to me. Hey, Kenneth, take care of yourself, please. All right, everybody. I am going to absolutely stay on this. I promise you, I am. I am absolutely going to stay on this. Sober, Kemley, sober, SOBER at myyahoo.com. Not Yahoo, but myyahoo.com. Bruce Cook. Really? Bruce, you want to come on and talk about it? Send me an email, Bruce. I would love to have you on. If you want to talk about that, Bruce, send me an email. I would love to have you on. I really would. You do know, people, that these are stories that have to be told. But do you know the world of hurt I'm gonna open up? I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I have every Scientologist on earth hates me. We may as well get the Mormons too. I have no beef with any Mormon. I hope everybody gets that. The guy that I spoke with, my best friend, for the longest time when I was a speaker, the guy that I worked with was LDS, and with the exception of the fact that he did an awful lot of heroin, he was very devout. LDS. He didn't curse. He didn't cheat on his wife. He didn't do any of those. He just did a lot of heroin, but he had a lot of pain too. You know. I have. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. We're going to be doing a book club, people, and there's a couple of things that your internet is buffering. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, my DNA is all over the place, so I'm not too worried about it. When you get busted, they take your DNA. When you get moved to the next joint, they take your DNA. When you get moved to the next joint, they take your DNA. I have had the inside of my mouth swabbed 5,000 times. I read most of the Dalai Lama's books as well. I don't know if I've read all of them, but I certainly read a lot of them. Any religious document or book that you could get in a federal prison, I read. Plain and simple. Because when they would get pissed and they could take everything from you, they could not take that. Right. So I could always get religious material to read. It's the only thing that I could always get. Mormonism is what I would call an open religion, demonized by so many. Great content. Children are being born to work as slaves, to work beside, I assume that's the woman. They take the money also. Yeah, they have a very unusual process of 10%, right? Pre-tax. Yeah, I've never said I was a fan of the Dalai Lama either. I read every if there's a religious book, I read it. It's something that I kind of get. Scientology. The only Scientology books I ever saw in prison, the only book ever was Dianetics. Dianetics is everywhere. You see it. I mean, everywhere. I meant by almost every prison I ever went to was that. I don't do fiction. I mean, historical fiction sometimes, or if something is based on a true story, or if it is a someone's retelling of something that happened. But I'm not much on. I don't do fiction. I'm not much on fiction. I kind of like. I want to come away smarter, if that makes any sense. There is a great South Park about Mormonism, and of course the guys that started South Park are have ties to Mormonism. So tree hugging Buddhist. Please be careful, man. Please be careful. Atomic Habits. I know that one as well. You know what? It's a crap subject, to be really honest. It's a crap subject. I hate talking about the abuse of kids. I really do. It is such a difficult thing. And I know that it triggers so much of my audience because so many of the people that are on the boat have problems because of things that happened to them as kids. You got to try to balance that out. But here's the thing. Absolutely, you can email me about a book club. Absolutely. Alice in Wonderland is different. The DRG Gar. That's completely different. Completely different. Alice is completely different. That's not a book. That's different. Yes, the troubled teen industry. There are a whole bunch of these. Look, there are so many of these. Now, I'm not trying to hack on the doctrine. I'm not trying to hack on the doctrine. I really am not, because that's not an area I want to go down. But you want to talk about it, just anomalies, right? Or things that were anachronistic, things that make no sense, right? You understand their belief. Jesus came to the U.S., right? After After he spent time over there, he came to the U.S., did a U.S. tour, right? Okay. And when he was sailing over, there are references to glass. There was no glass. And there are a lot of things like that appear throughout the book. Pushers of pyramid schemes, absolutely. And MLMs and pyramid schemes, right, are a Mormon industry. They are also a huge Scientology industry. There's so much crossover between all of them. And it should be. It makes perfect sense, right? Especially with Mormons. Because when you are 18, you get sent on a mission and all these people go to all over the place, right? So you get all your friends from high school, you call 20 of them. They went to 20 other countries. You join USANA, you join Herbalife, and now you've got 20 other countries instantly just by calling your best friends from high school. You get it? Like it's tailor-made for network marketing. And they're all out of Utah, almost all of them. Herbalife's not, but the vast majority of them are out of Utah. And by full disclosure, I was knee-deep in them. I wrote pay plans for them. I really was into it. I worked as a consultant to teach other companies how to rip people off better. I did all of these things. I don't back away from any of the things I did, just so that you know, because not all of you have watched every one of my videos where I've copped to all of the things that I've done. And if you just got here, yeah, I designed pay plans. I did all of those things. I was a dirtbag. I launched MLMs. I was knee deep in it. I really was. Yes, it is. I actually know some people in that who were involved in that, Jeanette. Yeah, watching my brother eat after talk after eating a pepper. That's Johnny's superpower, right? That's what Johnny does. That's why Johnny's famous, because Johnny is able to do that. It's very, very odd. Most people cannot. I struggle viciously to maintain any semblance of anything after I've eaten peppers. They're odd. I'm not a huge fan. You know what, Susie Q, I'm trying, and very often it's, I catch a lot of crap. People will say, you know what, a bunch of people did this. They don't do it the way I do it, right? I get torqued at things like who built that damn cell, right? Who built that cell? And the answer is probably somebody that attended the same church as her, right? Guaranteed that she was calling people from within that same church. Oh yeah, I knew that one too. Bakes and butter, Stampin' Up, MLM. Yeah, that's coming right now, right? Yeah, that's coming right now. I'm following that case too. I talked about that case. Yeah, they did 120 or something $1 million last year. It's a pretty big company. But the big ones are doing $1 billion. The big ones are doing $1 billion. Yes, Joseph Smith. I'm familiar. The founder of, and do you know where Joseph Smith is from? He's from a little town in Vermont, about that far from where I grew up. I used to drive by where it said birthplace of him all the time. Every time I would drive by, it would say, "This is the birthplace of." And I'd say, "Well, that makes perfect sense because that just sort of bred scam artists." A part of the country seems to have brought a lot of us out. Here's the thing, people. What you believe is what you believe. I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. But the issue becomes if what you believe starts to systematically hurt people, I get really bummed out. And if it starts to systematically hurt kids, then we really got an issue. Yeah. Yeah, I know the magic of the Uman, the Uma Thurman stones. Yeah, and some really cool sunglasses. This one's always tough, and I'm not mad at you, Bruce. I promise I'm not. But this is the kind of thing I hear 5 times a day in my life. I swear to God, it comes up at least 5 times a day. And it's probably because of what I do and because I'm on social media as much as I'm on. But like Joseph Smith was already a convicted felon, right? Well, we already know the guy was a dirtbag then. But the guy you're talking to has been convicted of about 20 of them, maybe 30. I don't know how many felonies I got, but I got a grip of them. But you know what? It really is. It is one of those things that follows you the rest of your life. And you know what? We don't look at Joseph Smith the same way because he already was a felony, right? He already was a felon. And that does show that you probably haven't got a whole lot of respect for society, right? It is what it is. But that does bring us to the top of the hour. People, we're not going to let this one, we're not going to let this fade. I promise you that. I'm going to be walking all of this. I am going to be watching all of it. You use the same email address one way or the other, hippie chick. It's just, you can put into the, if it's an emergency, just write emergency. You get a much faster response. Or if you write, I'm getting ready to get high or something like that. Because we do a form of triage, right? We do a form of triage, but yeah. Yeah. There's a whole lot of wow going on. Hold on. Let me knock this out real quick because I probably forgot. Yes, I love this idea. Almi says, I live in Provo, Utah. Anybody that's vetted by Tommy, we can have a keeper? Yeah, I love the idea of a keeper locked up party. Kemley, I look forward to talking to you. I really do. Oh, well, that's cool. Hi, Tommy and Johnny, been watching your hot pepper challenges. He is touched. He really is touched. And he does it every day. He really does, whether he's live or not. He does it every single day. He is just an animal. Brenda says, my heart goes out to the victims. And believe it or not, I'm not here to sensationalize this or to click up on it or anything else. If I was, I'd be talking about cults. That's what gets me the right. I'd be out here talking about Danny Masterson's. What gets me my most views. I'm talking about this because the people that are talking about it seem to be missing the point, right? And the point is, because of how this legal system works in the state of Utah, doesn't matter what happens immediately. It happens what happens next. And we are the people that are going to hold those that make the decisions feet to the fire so that they don't think that, you know what, I kind of knew her from back in the day. We were in the same ward. We used to go to the same, miss me with that shit. This woman needs to do a lot of time. She had a dungeon built in her house, right? Jesse cannot be the only person that shows up when this person comes up for parole. We need to keep her in there for all of the rest of her life. The beautiful thing about this is 60 years. She ain't got 60 years left. Seriously, she's already having health trouble in there. She ain't got 60 years left. Let's just make sure we keep her in there. Society's not safe from this person. I believe, regardless of, I believe that people change. I really do. I believe that people change. I think there are things you can't change from. Bad wiring, right? But I think people can change. This woman has got tons of history already with abusing kids, and nothing seemed to stop it. Rogue Ensign, Rogue, looking fantastic. Thank you so much. Really appreciate each and every one of you. And you know what? We'll be doing it again. There's going to be some training later today with my daughter. Yesterday, something came up between Spanky and Cedar, but today we will be busting it out. All right. Yeah. Destroyed a lot of marriages, people. She's a sick woman. Yeah, it's a sickening system. But you know something, people? We can do a crap load of damage. You don't need bang bangs. You don't need boom booms. You need one of these. You'd be really surprised the amount of damage you can do with one of these. Right? Your voice gets amplified. We talked about it yesterday, huh? All right, we'll see you on the next one. I'm Tommy. Bye-bye.